LaTisha Scott finally speaks up about Martell's car crash and who's to blame for it. It was a crash that shook the entire community of Huntsville, Alabama, and sent shockwaves through the Love and Marriage Huntsville fanbase. Martell Holt, a beloved yet controversial star on the hit show, was involved in a devastating car accident that left him in a medically induced coma. For days, the world held its breath, waiting for updates, hoping that Martell would pull through. But as the investigation into the incident continued, new information started to emerge, and what initially seemed like a terrible accident quickly turned into something much more complicated. And now, LaTisha Scott, a key figure in the Love and Marriage Huntsville cast, is speaking out about the crash, the aftermath, and who she believes is responsible for what happened. But this story is far from simple. What seems like an unfortunate event could be the beginning of a much deeper mystery, one filled with tension, betrayal, and unanswered questions. The accident itself was nothing short of catastrophic. Martell's luxury SUV collided with a concrete barrier with such force that the front of the vehicle was destroyed beyond recognition. It was one of the worst wrecks emergency personnel had ever seen. They initially thought it was just another tragic accident, but as investigators dug deeper, the facts didn't add up. There were no skid marks on the road, no sign that Martell had tried to brake or avoid the crash. In fact, it appeared as though he had no time to react at all. That's when people started questioning whether this was truly a solo crash or if something or someone had played a role in causing the disaster. As the investigation progressed, new details began to surface that pointed to something much more sinister than just a simple accident. Surveillance footage from local businesses and traffic cameras showed that before the crash, Martell's SUV was being followed closely by a black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. The car had been tailing Martell for about 15 minutes, swerving in and out of traffic to maintain a constant distance behind him. It didn't seem like the movements were random or accidental. The G-Wagon seemed to be following Martell with a purpose. And then, just minutes before the crash, the G-Wagon vanished from the cameras, leaving behind only questions. But the most chilling part of the story came when a woman came forward with new information. She had been a few cars behind the G-Wagon when she witnessed the entire sequence of events unfold. According to her, the G-Wagon suddenly swerved sharply and sideswiped Martell's SUV. The impact caused Martell to lose control, and his vehicle slammed into the concrete barrier. The woman said it sounded like an explosion. What shocked her even more was that the G-Wagon didn't slow down after the crash. It continued to speed off without even bothering to check for damage. And what was even stranger? There were no license plates on the G-Wagon, neither on the front nor on the back, which is highly unusual, especially for such an expensive vehicle. Her testimony was a game changer for the investigation. It gave the authorities the lead they needed to connect the dots. And just when they thought things couldn't get any stranger, an anonymous tip came in, revealing that the G-Wagon belonged to none other than LaTisha Scott, a well-known figure in Martell's life. LaTisha had recently bought the vehicle, and while the car hadn't been fully registered yet, it was starting to look more and more like the vehicle involved in the crash. Investigators immediately began looking into LaTisha, questioning whether he had played a role in causing the crash. And now, for those of you who are familiar with the Love and Marriage Huntsville drama, you know that LaTisha and Martell have a complicated history. The two were once close friends, even business partners, before the cameras started rolling. But things began to sour when the rumors of Martell's affair and the love child he fathered with another woman came to light. LaTisha was reportedly one of the people who was caught up in the fallout from Martell's personal drama, and their friendship started to unravel. What was once a brotherly bond between them quickly turned into a cold war. As Martell's marriage with Melody fell apart, LaTisha seemed to be caught in the middle of it all. There were rumors that LaTisha had his own skeletons in the closet, affairs, late-night rendezvous, and questionable behavior that began to tarnish his reputation. Martell didn't hold back in calling out LaTisha during the show, accusing him of being involved in some unsavory activities. The tension between the two was palpable, both on and off camera. And now, with LaTisha's G-Wagon potentially linked to the crash, people are starting to wonder, could there be more to this story than we initially thought? Some fans believe that LaTisha's actions that night weren't just a coincidence. They think he may have deliberately followed Martell and caused the crash, either out of jealousy, anger, or some other personal reason. Social media exploded with theories about what might have happened. Some fans speculated that LaTisha had been envious of Martell's renewed confidence and success, especially after the turmoil in his personal life. Others suggested that there was a deeper, more personal motive at play, one that was linked to the long-standing drama between the two men. And while Marceau has not made any public statements about the crash, LaTisha Scott, his wife and Martell's former friend, has finally spoken up. In a recent interview, LaTisha addressed the crash and shared her thoughts on who might be responsible for the devastating incident. While she stopped short of directly accusing anyone, her words were telling. She expressed her concern over the timing of the crash and the role Marceau may have played in it, especially given the ongoing tension between him and Martell. LaTisha hinted that there might be more to the story than the public realizes, and she's not the only one who feels that way. The fact that Marceau had been so closely linked to the crash has raised a lot of questions, especially considering the strained relationship between him and Martell. Was this a case of unresolved tension boiling over, or was it something even darker? And what about the mysterious G-Wagon with no license plates? The authorities are investigating whether Marceau's car had any visible damage that could match the impact Martell's SUV sustained. They're also looking at GPS logs, cell tower data, and any other evidence they can find to determine if Marceau's G-Wagon was in the area at the time of the crash. As of now, no formal charges have been brought against Marceau, but the investigation is ongoing. And with the drama surrounding Martell's crash continuing to unfold, the question remains, is Marceau responsible for what happened, or is there someone else involved? One thing is for certain, this story is far from over. For now, Martell remains in a medically induced coma, and the Love and Marriage Huntsville production crew is on edge. Filming has been halted as cast members and crew members alike try to process the events and figure out how this will affect the show's trajectory. The tension between Marceau and Martell has reached a boiling point, and it's clear that whatever happens next will have a significant impact on both their lives and the show. LaTisha Scott's decision to speak out about the crash has added another layer of intrigue to the situation. She's known for her fiery personality and her willingness to stand up for her family, so it's no surprise that she's ready to voice her opinions on what she believes transpired. Whether or not her words will lead to new revelations remains to be seen, but it's clear that this story is far from over. As the investigation continues and the mystery behind the crash deepens, one thing is clear: the truth is out there, and it's only a matter of time before it's revealed. Whether or not Marceau was involved, or if someone else played a role in the crash, remains to be seen. But with LaTisha Scott speaking out, fans are sure to be glued to their screens, eagerly awaiting the next twist in this shocking real-life drama. Will the truth come to light? Will Martell wake up to reveal what really happened? And what will become of the fractured friendships and relationships that have been torn apart by this tragic event? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure: this story is far from over. Stay tuned for the latest updates, as this high-speed crash could very well change everything we thought we knew about the people involved and the drama behind the scenes.